The boutique's neon sign buzzes overhead, painting the sidewalk in harsh blue and pink. Elijah stands outside checking his watch, his posture calm but alert. Inside, Derek watches through the glass, suspicion tightening his jaw. He wipes his, hands on his slacks, eyes never leaving the man outside. A woman in heels passes by, glancing at Elijah, then at the store before hurrying on. The air feels heavy, every movement under the neon light magnified. Elijah shifts his weight, glancing. At his phone, a group of teens walks past, their laughter echoing down the street. Derek's hand hovers over the door handle, debating. He finally steps out, letting the door swing shut behind him. The sound startles a pigeon, which flutters away. Derek's gaze is sharp, his words measured. "Can I help you?" he asks, voice flat. Elijah meets his eyes, steady and unbothered. "Just waiting for someone," he replies, his tone polite but firm. A couple exits the store, pausing as they sense the tension. The woman offers Elijah a quick, uncertain smile. Derek ignores them, standing a little too close, arms crossed. The neon sign flickers, casting strange shadows on the pavement. Elijah keeps his composure, refusing to shrink beneath the scrutiny. He looks past Derek, focusing on the street, his presence a quiet challenge. Inside, a staff member peers through the window, catching Derek's posture and Elijah's calm. She whispers to her coworker, "He's not causing trouble." The coworker shrugs, pretending to organize a display. Derek's jaw clenches. Elijah's phone buzzes, breaking the moment. He glances at the screen, then back at Derek, unflinching. The city's noise fills the pause, distant sirens, a car horn, footsteps, fading. Under the neon glow, suspicion lingers, drawing a line neither man is willing to cross. Before the story continues, please let us know from where you are watching this video. Write your city or country in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit like if you believe in stories that challenge injustice. Your engagement gives power to voices that need to be heard. The door swings shut behind Derek as he steps fully onto the sidewalk, the chill in the air matching the tension between him and Elijah. Above them, a security camera clicks and pivots, its red light blinking, recording every movement. Derek stands with his arms folded, feet planted wide, signaling control. Elijah stands his ground, hands in his pockets, refusing to retreat. Derek's voice is clipped. "You know, we're closing soon." He doesn't look at Elijah directly, instead glancing up at the camera, as if seeking backup from its unblinking eye. Elijah nods, his voice steady. "I'm just waiting for my sister. She's inside." Derek's lips press into a thin line. "We don't usually have people waiting out here at this hour." The words hang in the cold, more accusation than statement. Inside, a young staff member watches the exchange through the glass, her fingers tightening around a price tag. She leans toward her coworker. "He's just waiting, right?" The coworker shrugs, eyes darting between Elijah and Derek. "I guess so. Derek's being weird." Derek shifts his weight, glancing again at the camera. Elijah's eyes follow the movement, a flicker of understanding passing between them. The camera records it all. The manager's rigid stance, the mayor's quiet defiance, the way authority tries to assert itself even when it isn't needed. A car passes, headlights sweeping over the scene, illuminating the unease. Elijah doesn't flinch. Derek clears his throat, searching for words that might reassert his position. "Just don't linger too long. People get the wrong idea." Elijah's reply is soft but pointed. "I don't think I'm the one giving the wrong idea tonight." The staff inside exchange glances, the mood shifting. The camera's red. Light blinks again, capturing the moment the balance of power begins to tilt, ever so slightly, in the cold night air. Derek's breath fogs in the night air as he steps closer, his posture rigid. He doesn't lower his voice. "We're closed. Move along." The words are blunt, meant to end the conversation. Elijah holds his gaze, not moving, not blinking. "My sister's still inside," he says quietly, refusing to be pushed aside. A couple walking by slows, sensing the tension. The woman glances at Elijah, then at Derek, her brow furrowed. Derek ignores them, his attention fixed on Elijah. The staff inside the boutique watch from behind the glass, their faces tense. One whispers, "Why's he being like this?" Another shakes her head, biting her lip, unsure whether to intervene. Elijah's hands stay in his pockets, his stance calm. "I'm not causing trouble," he says, voice steady. Derek's jaw tightens. "This isn't about trouble. It's about policy." He gestures vaguely toward the store, but his words are hollow. Elijah lets the quiet stretch, the weight of dismissal settling between them. Inside, a young employee hesitates, then steps toward the door, but her supervisor gently pulls her back, shaking his head. "Let it go," he murmurs. The young woman's shoulders slump as she watches Elijah stand his ground. Derek's eyes flick upward to the security camera, then back to Elijah. "You need to leave," he says, softer now, but still firm. Elijah doesn't move. "I'll wait for my sister." The standoff draws out, each man refusing to yield. The air grows colder, the street quieter. The couple moves on, casting one last look over their shoulders. The boutique's neon sign flickers, reflecting in the puddles at their feet. Elijah's calm is unbroken, his dignity intact. Derek's authority feels brittle, his words echoing in the empty street. The moment ends not with a shout, but with a heavy, loaded pause. Derek steps back, pulling his phone from his pocket, his thumb hesitating only a moment before dialing. He glances at Elijah, voice clipped as he speaks into the receiver. "Yes, I need someone to come by. There's a man loitering outside the store." Elijah watches, jaw set, eyes calm but alert. A squad car rounds the corner, blue lights flashing against the storefront. The officers step out, hands resting near their belts. Derek waves them over, gesturing toward Elijah. He won't leave. Store's closed. The first officer approaches, his tone practiced. "Sir, can we see some ID?" Elijah nods, reaching slowly into his jacket. Inside, staff press closer to the window, faces tense. One whispers, "Is this really happening?" Another shakes her head, arms folded tight across her chest. The street is quiet except for the hum of the patrol car and the distant sound of a siren. Elijah pulls out his wallet, a business card slipping free and fluttering to the pavement. He hands over his license, the officer's brow furrowing as he reads the name. The other officer stoops, picking up the card, pausing as he catches the city seal. Derek shifts his weight, arms crossed, watching for a reaction. The first officer's voice softens. "Mayor Carter?" Elijah nods, his expression unchanged. The officer glances at Derek, then back at Elijah. "Is there a problem here?" Elijah's reply is measured. "Just waiting for my sister to finish shopping." The officers exchange a look, understanding dawning. Derek's confidence falters, his arms dropping to his sides. The staff inside release a collective breath, relief and disbelief mingling. The officers return Elijah's ID, their posture less rigid now. The blue lights continue to flash, casting long shadows on the sidewalk, illuminating the moment when assumption met truth and the story shifted. The officer holds Elijah's wallet, pausing as the mayoral badge catches the glow of the patrol car's lights. He turns it over, reading the inscription, then looks up at Derek. The shift is immediate, a subtle, unmistakable change in the air. Derek's face goes pale, his certainty draining away as he realizes who stands before him. Inside, the staff move closer to the window, their eyes wide. One employee covers her mouth, whispering, "That's the mayor?" Another grips the counter, knuckles white, watching the scene unfold. The officers step back, their tone now respectful. "Sorry for the trouble, Mr. Carter. Is there anything you need from us?" Elijah shakes his head, his voice even. "No, I'm fine. Just waiting for my family." Derek tries to recover, his words stumbling. I I didn't realize. He stops, unable to finish the sentence. Elijah meets his gaze, holding it just long enough for the message to land. The officers glance at each other, then at Derek, their expressions unreadable. The staff behind the glass exchange glances, the reality settling in. A quiet falls over the street, broken only by the distant sound of traffic. Derek takes a step back, his authority unraveling. The officers nod to Elijah, then return to their car, the blue lights dimming as they drive away. Elijah stands quietly, his presence now impossible to dismiss. The boutique's neon sign flickers, overhead, casting shifting colors on the sidewalk. Derek lingers a moment longer, then turns and slips back inside, his shoulders slumped. The staff watched him go, the power dynamic forever changed. Outside, Elijah remains steady. The storm of consequence gathering on the horizon, the truth now exposed for all to see. Elijah sits at his desk late that night, the city's neon glow seeping through his office window. He leans back, eyes unfocused, as memories surface, sharp and uninvited. He's 12 again, standing at the front of his classroom, hands gripping, an essay titled "Why I'll Lead." The room is quiet except for the ticking clock. Ms. Green, his teacher, sits at her desk, glasses perched low on her nose. She taps her pen against the wood, her gaze fixed on Elijah. Aim lower, Elijah. Maybe write about something more realistic. The words slip out, soft but final. The class shifts in their seats, some snickering, others looking away. Elijah's cheeks burn, but he forces himself to keep standing, refusing to let the paper fall from his hands. After school, his mother waits by the gate. She sees the crumpled essay, the disappointment on his face. She doesn't ask what happened. Instead, she smooths the paper, her hands gentle but firm. "You keep this," she says quietly. "Don't let anyone decide your worth." Elijah nods, swallowing the sting. His mother's words settle deep, a promise he carries for years. Back in his office, Elijah turns the old essay over in his hands, the faded pencil lines still visible. He hears the echo of Ms. Green's voice, but it's his mother's words that linger. The city lights outside pulse with possibility. Elijah straightens, placing the essay in his drawer. He glances at his reflection in the window, seeing both, the boy who was told to shrink and the man who refused. He stands, shoulders squared, ready for whatever comes next. The scars remain, but they no longer define him. They remind him why he leads, and for whom. Elijah remembers the fluorescent lights of the grocery store, the way they hummed overhead as he and his mother moved slowly down the aisles. He's small, maybe 10, clutching a box of cereal in one hand, his mother's purse in the other. The store is nearly empty, but he feels eyes on his back. A security guard lingers near the end of the aisle, arms folded, gaze fixed on them. Elijah glances up at his mother, searching her face for reassurance. She squeezes his hand, her grip firm, her steps unhurried. "Stay close," she whispers, voice steady but tight. Elijah nods, his heart thumping. They reach the register. The cashier barely looks up, scanning their groceries with practiced indifference. The guard stands just a few feet away, pretending to rearrange a display of gum. Elijah's mother counts out bills, her hands steady, her jaw set. The coins clatter on the counter, each one sounding louder than it should. As they leave, the guard follows, his footsteps echoing on the tile. Elijah glances back, but his mother keeps her eyes forward. Outside, she finally lets go of his hand, rubbing her thumb over his knuckles. "You did nothing wrong," she says quietly. "Don't ever let them make you feel small." Elijah nods, the lesson settling deep. He watches the automatic doors close behind them, the guard's shadow fading into the store. That feeling, being watched, judged, doubted, never quite leaves him. Years later, it shapes the way he walks into every room, the way he meets every stare. He carries his mother's words with him, a shield against the world's suspicion. Even as mayor, the memory lingers, a reminder that dignity is something you hold tight, even when the world tries to take it away. Ms. Rosa stands in the hallway, mop in hand, eyes on the restroom door marked "Staff Only." She's worked here for decades, her routine rarely questioned. Tonight, she needs a moment to herself, but the door won't budge. Derek appears, keys jangling at his side, his expression unreadable. She asks quietly, "May I use the restroom?" Derek doesn't meet her gaze. He shakes his head, unlocking the door just enough to slip inside. "Use the gas station down the street, Rosa. We need to keep things clean." The words sting. She nods, fighting the urge to argue, and turns away. Inside the boutique, a young employee watches from the stockroom, her brow furrowed. She glances at a coworker, voice low. Why won't he let her in? The other shrugs, uncomfortable, pretending to rearrange scarves. Ms. Rosa pushes her cart down the hall, the wheels squeaking on the tile. She finds a quiet corner, leans on her mop and breathes out slowly. Her hands tremble, but she won't let anyone see. She's learned how to swallow these moments, how to keep moving. Later, she scrubs the floors, Derek's shoes leaving perfect prints behind her. She wipes them away, her reflection warped in the polished surface. At the end of her shift, Ms. Rosa sits in the break room, pen hovering over a resignation letter. 30 years of their dirt, she writes, the words heavy but true. She folds the note, tucks it in her bag, and leaves the mop propped against the wall. The staff find the letter in the morning, reading it in silence, each of them feeling the weight of what's been lost. Ms. Rosa walks home under the streetlights, head high. She's done cleaning up after people who never saw her. A teenager stands outside the boutique, phone trembling in her hand. Her voice is barely above a whisper as she records, "They called the police on me. I just picked up a purse." Her eyes darted to the flashing lights, her breath quick and uneven. She posts the video with a single line. "Shopping while black." Within minutes, her phone pings with notifications. Comments pour in. "This happened to me last week." "Same store, same story." Not surprised. Each reply is a small confession, a piece of a much larger truth. The hashtag catches fire, spreading from one screen to the next, a silent scream echoing through the night. Inside her bedroom, Nia scrolls through the feed, tears blurring her vision. She sees faces she recognizes, friends, classmates, neighbors, each sharing their own story of being followed, questioned, dismissed. The boutique's Yelp page fills with one-star reviews, each one a quiet act of resistance. "Don't shop here if you want respect," one reads. Another simply says, "Never again." At the boutique, staff check their phones, expressions tight. One employee mutters, "We're all over the internet." Another shakes her head, worried in her eyes. Derek storms through the back room, demanding to know who's talking to reporters. No one answers. The video was picked up by local news. A reporter stands outside the boutique, microphone in hand, the hashtag flashing across the screen. The city watches, the story impossible to ignore. The teen's video, shaky and raw, becomes a rallying cry. In homes across the city, families watch and remember their own moments of being singled out. The hashtag grows, a chorus of voices refusing to be silenced. By midnight, Check Shopping While Black is trending nationwide. The world is finally listening, the truth too loud to dismiss. Nia sits at her kitchen table, a folder of printed emails spread out in front of her. The words jump off the page. Black teens loitering, call patrol. Each message is dated, each name blurred but familiar. She grabs a red marker, circling every time Derek wrote, "Suspicious." The ink bleeds through. The paper, evidence piling up with every stroke. Her phone buzzes. A whistleblower's message pops up. "You need to see this." More emails arrive, each one echoing the same coded language. "Keep an eye on the group by the shoe rack. Watch the kid in the hoodie." Nia's jaw tightens. She scrolls through the files, her anger growing with every line. She texts Elijah, "We have them." His reply is instant. Bring everything. Nia snaps photos, sends them to a reporter she trusts. The weight of the evidence settles on her shoulders, heavy but necessary. She knows what these words mean. She's heard them whispered in stores, seen the way security shadows certain customers. At the boutique, staff gather in the break room, eyes glued to their phones. One clerk reads an email aloud, voice shaking. Another sinks into a chair, face pale. "He wrote this about us," she whispers. The manager tries to defend himself, insisting it's standard safety. No one believes him. Outside, the city moves on, unaware of the storm brewing inside the boutique. Nia organizes the emails, each one a piece of the puzzle. She feels the shift. What was once hidden is now exposed. The pattern can't be denied any longer. As dawn approaches, Nia presses send on her final email. The evidence is out. The coded fear and quiet discrimination are no longer secrets. The truth is in the open, waiting for the world to see and judge for itself. Nia stands in her living room, laptop open, the glow of security footage flickering across her face. She clicks through the clips, each one a silent record of what's really happened inside the boutique. Derek is on screen, greeting white customers with a handshake, a practiced smile. When black shoppers enter, his posture stiffens, his eyes narrow, his words clipped and short. She rewinds, watching the same scene play out again and again. A black teenager asks about a jacket. Derek barely looks up, gestures toward the exit. Moments later, a white woman is offered a discount, her laughter echoing through the speakers. Nia's hands tremble as she pauses the video. The contrast, impossible to ignore. She calls Elijah, her voice low but urgent. "You need to see this." He arrives, watching the footage in silence. After a long moment, he shakes his head. This is it. No more denying. Nia uploads the files, attaching them to an email for the reporter. She hesitates, then hits send. At the boutique, staff gather around a phone, watching the footage circulate online. One employee covers her mouth, eyes wide. Another turns away, ashamed. Derek storms into the back, demanding answers, but no one meets his gaze. The video spreads, fast, picked up by news outlets, shared on social media, replayed in living rooms across the city. In the comments, people share their own stories, being followed, questioned, dismissed. The footage becomes proof, undeniable and raw. The boutique's reputation unravels, the truth no longer hidden behind polite excuses. Nia closes her laptop, exhaustion settling in. She knows this is just the beginning. But for the first time, the evidence is on their side. The cameras have captured what words alone could not, a system exposed by its own watchful eyes. Nia stands across the street, phone raised, hands shaking as she records the scene outside the boutique. Blue lights flash, painting Elijah's face in harsh color. Derek stands nearby, arms folded, trying to look in control. The officers approach Elijah, voices low but firm. "Sir, turn around." Nia's breath catches as she zooms in, her grip tightening. Elijah doesn't argue. He raises his hands, calm but weary. The cuffs snap shut, metal against skin. Nia's voice is barely a whisper behind the phone. "That's my brother. He didn't do anything." No one looks her way. The officers check Elijah's ID, their expressions shifting as they read his name. Derek's confidence wavers, his posture faltering for the first time. A small crowd gathers, drawn by the flashing lights and the tension in the air. Someone asks, "What's going on?" Nia keeps filming, her heart pounding. She catches Derek's face, no longer smug, just uncertain. The officers pause, glancing between Elijah and Derek, confusion spreading as they realize who they've just cuffed. Nia's phone vibrates with notifications. She posted the video captioned, "Meet your mayor." Within minutes, comments pour in. Anger, disbelief, support. The video spreads, a digital wave crashing over the boutique's carefully managed image. Inside, staff watch from the windows, some with hands pressed to the glass, others turning away. One whispers, "That's the mayor?" Another shakes her head, stunned. Derek tries to explain, but the words don't come. The officers remove the cuffs, apologizing quietly. Elijah nods, his dignity intact. Nia lowers her phone, tears in her eyes. She knows the world is watching now. The video keeps playing, the truth looping for anyone willing to see. The moment, once private, is now public, an entire city witnessing what can no longer be denied. A message pings on Nia's phone. A new tip from an unknown number. Attached are screenshots from a staff group chat. Derek's name stamped on every message. Watch the ones in hoodies. They always try to steal. The words are casual, typed late at night, but their meaning is sharp. Nia scrolls, her stomach twisting. She forwards the screenshots to Elijah and the reporter, her hands steady now. At the boutique, employees gather in the break room, faces pale as they read the leaked messages. One clerk reads aloud, voice cracking. Another pushes her chair back, disgusted. "He said that about us?" A third employee shakes her head, anger rising. "We knew, but seeing it like this—" The room is heavy with realization. Derek bursts in, demanding to know who leaked the chats. No one answers. A cashier stands, meeting his eyes for the first time. "You can't hide this anymore." Derek's face reddens, his authority slipping away with every word on the screen. He tries to defend himself, but the staff turn away, their loyalty gone. On social media, the screenshots spread fast. The boutique's Instagram fills with angry comments and trash can emojis. News outlets pick up the story, headlines flashing across phones and TVs, managers' racist messages exposed. The public response is swift and unforgiving. In homes across the city, people shake their heads, some in anger, some in recognition. Parents talk to their children about what's happening, about why it matters. The boutique's reputation, once carefully protected, unravels in real time. Nia sits back watching the fallout. She feels a sense of justice, but also sadness for how deep the rot runs. The truth is out, impossible to take back. The system Derek built on whispers and winks has finally collapsed in the harsh light of day. In the dim light of the stockroom, employees gather in a tight circle, voices low but urgent. Jordan, the youngest on staff, pins a printout of Derek's leaked messages to the corkboard, the paper trembling slightly in his hand. "We all saw it," he says, glancing around. "No more pretending." A cashier, usually quiet, steps forward. "I'm not covering for him again, not after this." She pulls off her name tag, dropping it into a box on the table. Another worker, eyes red from lack of sleep, sighs. "He made us feel like we were the problem. I'm done." The group nods, a shared resolve settling over them. Footsteps echo down the hall. Derek appears, scanning their faces. "What's going on back here?" His voice is sharp, but the usual edge is missing. Jordan meets his gaze, steady and unafraid. "We're not working for you anymore." The others murmur in agreement, some crossing their arms, others picking up their bags. Derek tries to regain control, but the staff ignore him, moving past without a word. One by one, they file out, leaving aprons and keys behind. The cashier who spoke first pauses at the door, looking back just long enough to say, "You did this to yourself." Derek stands alone, the weight of his actions settling in the empty room. Outside, the employees gather on the sidewalk, uncertain but free. Jordan glances at the boutique, then at his friends. "We'll find something better," he says, and, for the first time, he believes it. The back room, once a place of whispered complaints and silent frustration, is now the scene of a quiet but complete rebellion. A crowd gathers on the sidewalk as dusk settles, signs raised high, dignity over, discrimination, no more excuses. The boutique's neon sign flickers, casting uneven light over faces determined and tired. Ms. Rosa stands at the front, her chin lifted, a quiet pillar amid the noise. The chants start low, building with each new voice. "Justice now. Justice. Now! Inside, Derek peers through the blinds, his face pale in the shifting glow. He watches as more people join, some holding candles, others linking arms. The staff who left earlier stand in the crowd, united by what they've endured. Jordan holds a sign, his expression resolute. The energy outside is electric, a mix of anger and hope. A reporter weaves through the crowd, microphone in hand. "Why are you here tonight?" she asks Ms. Rosa. Ms. Rosa's answer is simple. "We're tired of being treated like we don't matter." Her words ripple through the group, drawing nods and murmurs of agreement. Suddenly, a rock sails through the air, shattering one of the boutique's front windows. Glass scatters across the sidewalk, the sound sharp and final. The crowd freezes, the moment stretching. Miss Rosa steps forward, raising her hands. "No violence," she says, her voice steady. The protesters lower their signs, the tension easing but not gone. Derek retreats from the window, shoulders hunched. The broken glass glitters on the pavement, a visible crack in the boutique's once imposing facade. Police arrive, standing at the edge of the crowd, but the protest remains peaceful. The chants resume, louder now, echoing down the street. As night falls, the neon sign continues to flicker, unable to drown out the voices demanding change. The city watches, the message clear: things will not go back to the way they were. Elijah stands at his office window looking down at the protest below. The city lights blur in the glass, mixing with the reflection of his own steady gaze. He doesn't speak, just watches, shoulders squared, hands clasped behind his back. The chants rise up, reaching him even 10 stories above the street. He closes his eyes, letting the sound settle deep. Across town, Derek paces the empty boutique, the echo of his footsteps filling the space. Shelves are bare, displays half-packed. He checks his phone, no new messages, no missed calls. He tries to dial a friend but hangs up before the line connects. His hands shake as he sets the phone down, the screen lighting up with news alerts about the protest outside. In the break room, a janitor unlocks the back door for the last time. She glances at Derek, then turns away, leaving her keys on the counter. Derek tries to speak. "Wait, can we talk?" But she's already gone. The only answer is the sound of the door closing behind her. Elijah opens his eyes, watching as the crowd below lights candles, their glow spreading along the sidewalk. He sees Ms. Rosa among them, her face calm, her presence grounding. He feels the weight of the moment. Not anger, but quiet resolve. He knows this is bigger than one man, one store. It's a reckoning that's been coming for years. Derek sits on a stool near the window, staring out at the street he once ruled. His reflection is thin, uncertain. He presses his palms to his knees, trying to steady his breath. The boutique is silent now, the power he once wielded gone. Outside, the city moves forward, leaving him behind. Naya sits at her desk, laptop open, watching Dejun shopping, while Black climbed the trending charts. Each new post is a story, some raw, some angry, all honest. Her inbox fills with messages. "Thank you for sharing. This happened to me too. I never thought anyone would listen." She responds to each one, her fingers moving quickly, her resolve growing with every reply. At City Hall, Elijah and his team work late, drafting new anti-discrimination policies. The conference table is covered in highlighted documents and handwritten notes. Elijah reviews every line, making sure the language is clear, the protections real. Nia films a short video update, her voice steady. "We're turning your stories into action." The comments pour in. Applause, raised fists, hope. Outside the boutique, news crews interview protesters, parents, and former staff. Ms. Rosa walks by, her head high, her story finally heard. The boutique's windows are dark, a "for lease" sign twisting in the wind. Derek's name is gone from every door, every record. In homes across the city, families talk about what they've seen. Children ask questions and parents answer honestly. The hashtag moves from screens to dinner tables, from private pain to public change. The city's mood shifts. People greet each other with nods. Conversations start where there was once only avoidance. Naya closes her laptop, exhaustion settling in, but for the first time, she feels hope outweighs the tiredness. Elijah stands at his window, watching the city below, the quiet hum of progress filling the night. What began as a single voice online has become a movement, one that can't be silenced or ignored. Ms. Rosa puts away her mop, knowing she won't need it again. The world has shifted, and this time, it's not going back. A reporter leans forward, voice sharp over the crowd's hush. Mayor Carter, how did it feel being treated like a criminal outside your own city's store? The question hangs, heavy and raw. Elijah's jaw tightens, eyes scanning the faces in front of him. Protesters, staff, reporters, families holding children close. He doesn't answer right away. The pause stretches, the only sound the click of camera shutters and the distant buzz of the neon sign. Elijah finally speaks, his voice low but clear. You want to know how it felt? Ask the thousands who live this every single day. Ask the people who never get an apology, who don't have cameras watching. The crowd shifts, some looking down, others meeting his gaze. A woman near the front wipes her eyes. Elijah continues, This isn't about my title. It's about every person who's been told, in 100 small ways, that they don't belong. About the harm that's done when we pretend not to see. The reporter tries again. But you're the mayor. Shouldn't you be treated differently? Elijah shakes his head, a bitter smile touching his lips. That's the problem. No one should have to be mayor to be treated with respect. His words ripple through the crowd, a quiet fury simmering beneath each syllable. Jordan, standing with the former staff, nods in agreement. Ms. Rosa squeezes his hand, her own face set with determination. The protesters raise their signs higher, the energy shifting from anger to resolve. Elijah looks out over the crowd, his voice steady. We're not asking for special treatment. We're demanding basic dignity for everyone. The applause is slow at first, then builds, echoing off the boutique's walls. The moment belongs to the thousands whose stories have never made the news. Derek sits in his car, engine running, parked just beyond the edge of the crowd. The cheers and applause from Elijah's words reach him, muffled by the closed windows. He glances up at the rearview mirror, catching his own reflection, drawn, pale, eyes darting. The neon from the boutique sign flickers across his face, warping his features, making him look like a stranger. He grips the steering wheel, knuckles, pressed white. His phone buzzes beside him, a new notification lighting up the screen. Terminated. He doesn't touch it, just stares at the word as if it could be erased by sheer will. In the mirror, his mouth opens, but no sound comes out. His confidence, once so solid, fractures with every echo of the crowd's support for Elijah. A group of former staff passes by, not noticing him. Jordan laughs with Ms. Rosa, the sound sharp and bright. Derek shrinks lower in his seat, wishing he could disappear. He watches as the protesters wave their signs, the words blurring in the glass. Justice, we belong, never again, I tries to call a friend. But the call goes straight to voicemail. He hangs up, the silence in the car growing heavier. The mirror shows him not the manager he once was, but a man unmoored, lost in the aftermath of his own choices. As Elijah's voice carries through the night, Derek's grip loosens. The steering wheel feels foreign in his hands, the car suddenly too small. He wipes his forehead, smearing sweat across his brow. The mirror reflects his uncertainty, his fear, the realization that nothing will ever be the same. He turns the key, engine humming, but he doesn't drive away. He just sits, staring at the fractured image of himself, the crowd's energy pulsing just outside his reach. Derek's phone vibrates again, the screen flashing with a new message. He picks it up, hands unsteady. The words are simple. Your employment has been terminated effective immediately. He stares at the screen, numb. The crowd outside cheers for Elijah, their voices rising, but inside the car, it's just Derek and the cold glow of his phone. He lets out a shaky breath, thumb hovering over the reply button. But there's nothing to say. The phone slips from his grip, landing on the passenger seat with a dull thud. He looks up, seeing his own reflection in the windshield, drawn, defeated, exposed. The boutique's neon sign flickers, casting broken light across the dashboard. Inside the store, a few remaining staff peek through the blinds. One clerk, who once feared Derek's temper, catches his eye. She mouths, "Good riddance," her face unreadable. Another worker shakes her head, turning away, relief and exhaustion etched in her posture. Derek tries to start the car, but his hands won't stop trembling. He glances at the phone again, the termination message still glowing. He scrolls through. Old texts, congratulations from when he first got the job, reminders for meetings, jokes with staff who no longer speak to him. Each message feels like a relic from another life. He wants to call someone, to explain, to apologize, but the words stick in his throat. Outside, the celebration grows louder. He rolls down the window, letting the noise in, but it only makes him feel more alone. Derek puts the car in drive, pulling away from the curb. The boutique fades in the rear view, the crowd's cheers echoing in his ears. The era he ruled has ended. Not with a confrontation, but with a quiet, irreversible message, and a world that no longer waits for him. Elijah steps back to the podium, the crowd's energy still buzzing. He lifts a folder, voice steady. Effective. Immediately, the city will audit every retail business for discrimination. No exceptions. The announcement ripples through the crowd. Some gasp, others clap, a few exchange hopeful glances. Reporters jot down notes, cameras zoom in. Suddenly, a rock arcs through the air, smashing the boutique's front window. Glass explodes outward, scattering across the sidewalk. The crowd freezes, shock and anger mixing in the heavy air. Elijah raises a hand, calm but commanding. No violence. We're here for justice, not revenge. His words settle the crowd, the tension easing as people step back from the broken glass. Ms. Rosa, standing with Jordan, watches the shards glitter on the pavement. She whispers, "It's finally happening." Her voice a mix of relief and sadness. The former staff gather near the storefront, looking at the damage, then at one another. For them, the shattered window is more than vandalism. It's the end of an era, the breaking of something that was never truly whole. Inside, the last few employees sweep up the glass, their movements slow and deliberate. One pauses, looking out at the crowd, then back at the empty store. "It's over," she says quietly, her words barely audible. Elijah's team stands nearby, clipboards in hand, ready to begin the audit. They check off names, speak quietly with business owners, and reassure the community that this time, things will be different. The city's promise is written not just in policy, but in the broken glass that now glitters like a warning and a hope. As the sun sets, the boutique's neon sign flickers, struggling to stay lit. The crowd disperses, leaving behind a new kind of silence, one filled with the possibility of real change. Derek sits behind the wheel, parked just beyond the edge of the crowd. The chants outside grow louder, dignity over discrimination, echoing off the storefronts. He glances in the rearview mirror, catching a final glimpse of the boutique's neon sign, flickering uncertainty in the dusk. His hands grip the steering wheel, knuckles pale, breath shallow. He puts the car in gear, easing into the street as protesters part to let him pass. No one shouts at him. No one throws anything. They simply watch, faces illuminated by candlelight and phone screens. Jordan stands at the curb, arms folded, meeting Derek's eyes as he rolls by. Ms. Rosa, holding a sign, gives a small, knowing nod. Not forgiveness, not anger, just acknowledgement that it's over. Derek's GPS reroutes, suggesting unfamiliar, back roads. He follows, headlights cutting through dark, empty streets. The city feels foreign now, every turn a reminder of what he's lost. He passes a billboard for the audit, Elijah's face beside the words, "Accountability for all." Derek looks away, swallowing the sting of regret. Inside the boutique, staff gather their things, the last of the lights flickering off. One cashier lingers at the window, watching Derek's taillights fade. She whispers, "He's really gone," and the others nod, relief and uncertainty mingling in the quiet. Derek drives on, the protest chants fading behind him, replaced by the hum of his engine and the distant city noise. He doesn't know where he's headed, just away from the place he once controlled. The boutique's neon sign finally blinks out, leaving the street in shadow. For Derek, there's no dramatic exit, no final speech. Just the steady rhythm of tires on asphalt, the city moving on, and a chapter closed with nothing more than a silent drive into the night. The boutique is nearly empty, shelves bare, the last of the evening light spilling across the floor. Employees gather by the back door, aprons folded in their arms. Jordan steps forward, pinning Derek's printed emails. To the notice board, the paper crisp and final. The others watch, silent, each one processing what's just ended. A cashier who once avoided confrontation drops her apron into the donation box. "I'm not coming back," she says, her voice steady. Another worker, usually quick with a joke, just nods, eyes red. The group moves as one, leaving keys and name tags on the counter, small acts of closure. In the break room, someone snaps a photo of the empty lockers, sending it to the group chat with a caption, "We did it." Laughter bubbles up, mingling with relief. For the first time in months, no one worries about who's listening. The air feels lighter, the weight of old loyalties finally gone. Outside, the staff gather on the sidewalk, watching the last customers leave. Jordan glances at the boutique, then at his friends. "We deserve better," he says, and the others agree, some hugging, others simply standing close. Ms. Rosa joins them, her smile tired but proud. She hands out coffee, a quiet toast to new beginnings. Inside, the boutique is still. The aprons left behind are a testament to what's been endured and what's been overcome. The staff don't look back as they walk away, their footsteps echoing down the block. The boutique's doors close for the night, not with a sense of loss, but with the promise of something better ahead. The staff's loyalty has shifted, from a store that never valued them to each other, and to the future they're ready to claim. The conference room buzzes with quiet energy. Papers are spread across the long table, marked with highlights and notes. Elijah leans over, pointing to a section of the draft policy. His voice is calm but firm. "We need clear language, no loopholes. Everyone deserves protection." Nia records the meeting on her phone, her voice steady as she updates the live stream. "We're turning stories into action," she says, glancing up at the team. Comments flood in, fists, hearts, words of encouragement. Around the table, team members nod, scribbling notes. One advisor adjusts his glasses, adding, "This will set a precedent. Retail discrimination won't be tolerated anymore." Ms. Rosa enters with coffee, her smile quiet but proud. She places cups down gently, her presence grounding the room. Jordan catches her eye, offering a small nod of thanks. Outside, news vans line the street. Reporters interview protesters and community members, their voices carrying the weight of change. The boutique's dark windows reflect the city's shifting mood. Back inside, Elijah reviews a page, his finger tracing the words. "This is more than policy," he says softly. "It's a promise." Nia pauses the livestream, her eyes meeting Elijah's. "We're ready," she says. The team shares a moment of quiet determination. The camera pans to Derek's empty chair in the corner, a silent reminder of the past. The room fills with the sound of pens scratching paper, the steady rhythm of progress. Outside, the city breathes. In the possibility of justice, the blueprint for a new future unfolding one word at a time. Darkness settles over the street as the boutique's neon sign flickers, struggling to stay lit. The last of the staff steps out, locking the door behind them. Jordan pauses, looking up at the sign, its glow weaker than ever, buzzing with fatigue. Ms. Rosa stands beside him, her arms folded, gaze steady on the storefront. A janitor enters quietly, unplugging the neon from the inside. The cords slip free, the light sputters, then fades to black. The once bright sign that announced the boutique's presence now hangs dull, a relic of what used to be. Jordan exhales, relief and sadness mingling in his chest. On the sidewalk, the former staff gather, flashlights in hand. They shine beams along the pavement, guiding each other down the block. Laughter and quiet conversation replace the old tension. Someone snaps a photo of the darkened sign, sending it to the group chat with the words, "It's really over." Inside, the boutique is silent. The shelves are empty, racks bare. The only sound is the faint hum of the city outside. The space feels different, lighter, open, waiting for something new. Ms. Rosa glances back once, then turns to join the others. Elijah watches from his office window, the city's lights twinkling in the distance. He sees the boutique's sign, now dark, no longer a symbol of exclusion. He lets out a breath, knowing this moment is both an ending and a beginning. The street is calm as the staff disappear into the night, their flashlights weaving through the darkness. The boutique stands quiet, its story changed, the last gasp of neon marking the close of one chapter and the hope of another. Morning breaks gently over the city, sunlight streaming through the boutique's shattered front window. The once bright neon sign is dark, replaced by the soft gold of a new day. Inside, empty shelves catch the light, dust motes swirling in the quiet. Miss Rosa stands at the doorway, her reflection blending with the graffiti painted across the glass. "We belong." She steps inside, pausing to take in the silence. The air feels clean, the tension of old battles finally gone. Jordan arrives, coffee in hand, offering her a warm smile. "Looks different in daylight," he says. Ms. Rosa nods, her eyes bright. "It feels different too." Outside, neighbors greet each other as they pass the storefront. Some stop to read the new sign in the window, "For lease." Others pause, remembering what the boutique used to represent and what it means now. Parents walk their kids to school, pointing out the store and sharing the story of how things changed. Elijah walks by on his way to City Hall, slowing as he sees Ms. Rosa and Jordan inside. He raises a hand in greeting, pride clear in his expression. The three share a quiet moment, knowing how much was risked, how much was gained. Derek passes by on the other side of the street, head down, unnoticed. He glances at the empty shelves, the new graffiti, the faces inside. He keeps walking, the city moving on without him. As the sun climbs higher, the boutique fills with light. The emptiness is not loss, but possibility, a blank canvas for whatever comes next. Ms. Rosa lingers by the door before stepping back outside, her heart lighter than it's been in years. The city wakes to a new normal, hope settling into every corner the darkness once claimed. Derek sits alone at a corner table in a crowded cafe, resume folded neatly beside his untouched coffee. The barista glances his way, then turns to greet a regular, her smile reserved, for someone else. Derek raises his hand for a refill, but she moves past him, pouring for a couple by the window. His fingers tap the table, each movement a sharp reminder of how quickly his world has shifted. He checks his phone, hoping for a message. Anything. Instead, another automated response appears. "Thank you for your interest. The position has been filled." He scrolls through his inbox, each unopened email another closed door. He remembers when people returned his calls, when his name carries weight. Now former colleagues leave his messages unanswered. He watches a man in a suit get greeted by name, the barista's tone warm and familiar. Derek looks down at his resume, the words leadership and experience blurred by a stray drop of coffee. A couple at the next table whispers, glancing in his direction, "Isn't that the guy from the news?" Derek hears them, but keeps his eyes on the table, suddenly aware of how out of place he feels. He stands, gathering his things, leaving the coffee half-finished. As he heads for the door, the barista finally looks up, offering a quick, polite nod. Nothing more. The bell above the entrance rings as he steps outside, swallowed by the city's movement. His presence barely registers, his absence even less. The world he once navigated with confidence now moves on without him, his place in it quietly erased. Derek walks away, the coffee growing cold behind him, a silent marker of how far he's fallen. Derek sits at his kitchen table, laptop open, the glow from the screen highlighting the lines on his face. He refreshes his inbox again, hoping for something different. Each new message is the same. "We regret informing you." He deletes them one by one, the words blurring together, each rejection heavier than the last. He scrolls through his contacts, thumb hovering over familiar names. He tries calling an old colleague. The phone rings, then goes to voicemail. He hangs up without leaving a message. He tries another, but the call is declined. The silence on the other end is worse than any argument. Derek leans back, staring at the ceiling, the weight of isolation settling over him. He opens his resume, tweaking a line here, adding a skill there. It doesn't help. The world he once understood has changed, and he's no longer part of it. He checks social media, sees former staff celebrating new jobs, their posts filled with hope and relief. He scrolls past photos of the boutique, now under new ownership, the comments full of praise for the changes. A neighbor walks by his window, glancing in but not waving. Derek remembers when people used to stop and chat, when his opinion mattered. Now they cross the street or look away. He closes his laptop, the click echoing in the empty room. He stares at his hands, wondering when they started to shake. The privilege that once shielded him is gone, replaced by a quiet, relentless emptiness. The world keeps moving, doors closing behind him, opportunities slipping away. Derek sits in the stillness, realizing that for the first time, he's truly on the outside looking in. Sunlight pours through the boutique's front windows, catching on fresh paint, vivid blues and yellows where there was once only sterile white. The old sign is gone, replaced by a hand-painted logo that reads, "Community." Threads. Inside, shelves are filled with clothes from local designers, each tag telling a different story. Ms. Rosa stands near the entrance, scissors in hand, ready to cut the ribbon. Jordan stands beside her, holding a bouquet. The new owners, a black couple from the neighborhood, greet guests at the door, shaking hands and sharing hugs. Laughter and music fill the air, a stark contrast to the tense quiet that used to hang over the shop. A line forms outside, neighbors eager to see the changes. Children press their faces to the glass, pointing at the colorful displays. Inside, staff bustle around, arranging racks and helping customers. The energy is warm, welcoming. Every gesture is an invitation to belong. Derek passes by on the sidewalk, unnoticed by the crowd. He stops for a moment, watching through the window as Ms. Rosa smiles and snips the ribbon. The crowd cheers, applause, spilling onto the street. Derek turns away, his presence irrelevant in this new chapter. Ms. Rosa hands the scissors to a young employee, her pride unmistakable. "This is for all of us," she says, voice steady. Jordan nods, grinning. The new owners thank everyone for coming, promising that the boutique will always be a place for the whole community. As the day goes on, the shop buzzes with life. Conversations, laughter, the sound of possibility. The boutique, once a symbol of exclusion, is now a beacon of hope and unity. The new colors on the walls reflect more than just paint. They signal a future built on respect and belonging. Ms. Rosa stands at the boutique's entrance, ribbon stretched between her hands. A crowd gathered around her. The new owners step aside, giving her the spotlight. Jordan offers her the scissors, his eyes shining with gratitude. She takes a breath, looking out at the faces, neighbors, former co-workers, children who once watched her sweep the floors. She raises the scissors, pausing for a moment. 30 years, she says softly. I cleaned this place, but I was never seen. The crowd falls silent, every ear tuned to her words. Today we open doors for everyone. Today we belong. She cuts the ribbon, the crowd erupting into cheers and applause. People rush forward to hug her, some wiping away tears. A young woman hands Ms. Rosa a bouquet, whispering, "Thank you for never giving up." The new owners embrace her, promising she'll always have a place here. Jordan snaps a photo capturing the moment Ms. Rosa's smile lights up the doorway. Inside, staff greet customers with warmth, sharing stories of Ms. Rosa's quiet strength. "She taught us what real dignity looks like," one says. Kids run to her, asking for a turn with the scissors, wanting to be part of the celebration. Ms. Rosa laughs, her heart full. Outside, the crowd lingers, neighbors chatting and reminiscing about the old days. The boutique's windows reflect a new reality, one where everyone is welcome and no one is overlooked. Ms. Rosa stands in the center of it all, her years of unseen work finally recognized. As the day winds down, she sits by the window, watching. The sun set over the busy street. The ribbon she cut now hangs in the display, a symbol of change and honor. For the first time, Ms. Rosa feels not just present, but truly valued. Ms. Rosa stands at the boutique's entrance, ribbons stretched. Between her hands, a crowd gathered around her. The new owners step aside, giving her the spotlight. Jordan offers her the scissors, his eyes shining with gratitude. She takes a breath, looking out at the faces, neighbors, former co-workers, children who once watched her sweep the floors. She raises the scissors, pausing for a moment. 30 years, she says softly. I cleaned this place, but I was never seen. The crowd falls silent, every ear tuned to her words. Today we open doors for everyone. Today we belong. She cuts the ribbon, the crowd erupting into cheers and applause. People rush forward to hug her, some wiping away tears. A young woman hands Ms. Rosa a bouquet, whispering, "Thank you for never giving up." The new owners embrace her, promising she'll always have a place here. Jordan snaps a photo capturing the moment Ms. Rosa's smile lights up the doorway. Inside, staff greet customers with warmth, sharing stories of Ms. Rosa's quiet strength. "She taught us what real dignity looks like," one says. Kids run to her, asking for a turn with the scissors, wanting to be part of the celebration. Ms. Rosa laughs, her heart full. Outside, the crowd lingers, neighbors chatting and reminiscing about the old days. The boutique's windows reflect a new reality, one where everyone is welcome and no one is overlooked. Ms. Rosa stands in the center of it all, her years of unseen work finally recognized. As the day winds down, she sits by the window, watching. The sun set over the busy street. The ribbon she cut now hangs in the display, a symbol of change and honor. For the first time, Ms. Rosa feels not just present, but truly valued. Elijah stands by the window of his office, the late afternoon sun, casting long shadows across the room. He watches the boutique below, now alive with families and laughter, a stark contrast to the tension he remembers. His hands rest lightly on the windowsill as his thoughts drift. He recalls the early days, the dismissals, the cold stares, the feeling of being unwelcome in his own city. The weight of those moments still lingers, but now they serve as fuel, not chains. Change whispers, he thinks, softly at first, but persistent enough to become a roar. His gaze shifts to the framed essay from his childhood, still on his desk. The words "aim lower" echo in his mind, but so does his mother's quiet strength, urging him forward. He breathes deeply, the room filled with a calm resolve. Elijah's voice breaks the silence, barely above a whisper. It's not about one victory or one store. It's about every door that needs to open, every voice that needs to be heard. He knows the fight continues, but today the city feels different, more awake, more willing. Outside, the sun dips lower, bathing the street in warm light. The boutique's neon sign flickers softly, no longer a symbol of exclusion but a beacon of hope. Elijah turns from the window, his steps steady as he moves toward the door. He pauses, looking back once more. "We've come far," he says quietly. "And we're just getting started." The words hang in the air, a promise to the city and to himself. The room fades to dusk, but Elijah's determination burns bright, a quiet fire lighting the path ahead. A new security camera sits above the boutique's entrance, its lens angled outward, not inward. The old cameras, once used to watch and judge, have been replaced. Now the footage shows families coming and going, neighbors greeting each other, and children laughing as they run through the open doors. Inside, the monitor displays a steady stream of joy, Ms. Rosa chatting with customers, Jordan helping a teenager find the right size, the new owners shaking hands with old friends. The footage is ordinary, but for this community, it's proof of change. No one is singled out, no. One followed or questioned. The camera records belonging, not suspicion. At the register, a staff member glances up at the monitor, a smile tugging at her lips. "Looks good from here," she says, nodding to her co-worker. He grins, replying, "It's about time." The high sense of relief is palpable, the fear that once lingered, now replaced by trust. Outside, Elijah passes by, catching his reflection in the boutique's window. He sees the green light on the camera, a small but powerful sign that things are different. Now, he stops for a moment, watching as a group of kids waves to the camera, their faces bright with excitement. The new owners step outside, joining Elijah on the sidewalk. "We're keeping everyone safe," one of them says, nodding toward the camera. Elijah nods back, pride in his eyes. "And everyone is welcome," he adds. The footage rolls on, capturing moments of connection and community. The camera's new angle tells a different story, one of justice, inclusion, and hope. For the first time, the people inside and outside the boutique feel seen for all the right reasons. As dusk settles, the green light blinks steadily, a quiet guardian over a place transformed by dignity and trust. Morning breaks over the city, sunlight spilling across rooftops and down quiet streets. The boutique's windows catch the first light, their glass clear and welcoming. Ms. Rosa unlocks the door, pausing to take in the gentle hush before the day begins. She straightens a display, her movements unhurried, her expression peaceful. Outside, neighbors greet each other as they pass. Parents walk their children to school, stopping to point out the bright new sign in the boutique window. "See that?" a father says to his son. "That store is for everyone now." The boy nods, eyes wide, absorbing the lesson. Jordan arrives, with coffee, handing a cup to Ms. Rosa. "Ready for another busy day?" he asks. She smiles, her heart light. "I've never been more ready." The two share a quiet laugh, savoring the sense of possibility in the air. Elijah strolls by on his way to City Hall, pausing to wave at the staff inside. He sees families browsing, friends chatting, the boutique alive with energy and hope. The city feels changed, more open, more connected. The wounds of the past haven't vanished, but they've begun to heal. Derek passes on the far side of the street, head down, unnoticed by the morning crowd. He glances at the boutique, then looks away, moving on as the city continues without him. Inside, Ms. Rosa arranges flowers by the register, sunlight warming her face. She looks out at the street, watching people come and go, each one a part of the new story unfolding. The boutique stands as a symbol of what's possible when justice is done, not just for a few but for everyone. As the day begins, hope settles quietly into every corner, promising that this new normal is here to stay.